just an introduction for those of you that are new, which is unlikely with new people, but if there is new people, then I shall explain how everything works. So I start this talk normally at 6 o'clock French time, and for 10 minutes I just leave my music playing while people sign in. So I normally start speaking about 10 past 6. And then I do a little bit of an introduction and tell everyone how it works, and then at about maybe 20 past 6, I do a meditation for 20 minutes. Then maybe 6:30, 20 to 7, I do the introduction talk. So every talk I do an introduction for 20 minutes, and then at about 10 past 7, I take questions and answers, and I take preference currently to people that want to call in. And the way that you can call in is through Skype, which is Lisa Cairns 12. You can find that in the box below if you missed that, Lisa Cairns 12. And you send me a Skype request, and then just put call me with nothing else so I can see it in my notifications. Call me, and then don't press any more lines down, otherwise I won't see that it says call me. Don't put call me and then hearts underneath, just call me. But you can also write questions on there, and if don't have enough callers, then I will do the written questions next. I don't always complete all the questions, sometimes I do, and so if I don't complete them, then send them again the next Sunday, and then I can complete them. I also do sessions, one-to-one sessions. You're welcome to find that on my website. I'm normally 2 or 3 months booked up in advance. There is a waiting list you can go on to, but normally the waiting list is quite busy, so it's down to luck as to whether you get a session. Yes, and you can also there sign up to sponsor people to have sessions, or to be sponsored to have sessions. Yes. What else? I don't do any retreats. Maybe I don't do anything this year. I'm still thinking about it, but yeah. Maybe I do an online retreat this year. So you can follow my blog, follow my website, you can follow me on Facebook and find out about all this type of stuff. And a few talks ago, I was moaning about paperwork. I wasn't really moaning, but someone asked me why I don't do more online stuff. And it's really because I just don't, my answer was I don't have enough time. And if I did an online retreat, there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with that, like programming my website, and then all the tax paperwork that I have to do as well. And I'm currently writing a book at the moment, and I just don't really have the impulse and the energy to do that side of things. And I didn't mean to sound negative about people donating, because then somebody said, why don't you do donations? And I was like, yeah, but I still have to do a lot of paperwork for that. And it wasn't meaning to sound negative. If you send me a donation, I'm so grateful. But if I did an online retreat, and it would be a lot more donations, and then there would be a lot more paperwork. And just currently, I'm so focused on writing this book that it's like, when I'm not doing one-to-one sessions or talks, or walking to Lisi, or cooking my dinner, or spending time with my partner, then I forgot how I started that sentence. I don't have much more time to do those types of things, to program my website, to organize these things, to write information about it, to book people on. Yeah. There's a lady that helps me, and maybe I can give all this work to her, but I'm not really sure how much of it I can in the end, because I'll have to train her, and yeah, so we see. So yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up if anyone felt like they donated to me and I was like being negative about donation. I'm so grateful. It's so sweet and so kind, and it really touches me, because traditionally in India, like, all talks were done by donation, and like, I love that idea. I tried it for a while in the West, and it doesn't practically work, because people think that by donation means free. So yeah, it just doesn't work. It's like yeah, and people don't respect it. It's just because of the way we're brought up. Whereas in India, they're brought up to appreciate and to give these types of things. They see it as a spiritual practice. Whereas Westerners are like, it can't be much good if it's but free. And you're like, it's donation. It can't be much good if it's free. It's free. Yeah. So that. What next? I do these talks every Sunday at 6 p.m. French time. Just in case I missed that bit out. I think that is everything. And if there's mistakes with my audio, please feel free to tell me on Skype. I really appreciate it because I can't tell about the technical issues. I'm doing everything here. I'm like the camera person, the sound person, I'm the internet person, I'm the speaker. It's like 40 Towers, if you've ever seen 40 Towers. I'm like all the roles. So yeah. Okay, so now maybe we can do some meditation. So I just give you a bit of a disclaimer before we meditate. So the separate person. So first of all, I want to clarify some things. Like I've been changing, I always am changing the way I speak. It's just my personality. I'm triple Gemini or double Gemini, depending on this astrology system that you follow. And my nature is to change things and to evolve. And I love that, like finding different ways to speak about it. It keeps me excited. In some ways it's like the same, but there is also evolution and a change to the way I speak always. And recently I've been trying to slip in, and maybe it's not recently, but maybe it's just recently I've noticed this. Like I've tried to slip in that there has to be identification with the body. And I think this has been confusing people because I also equally say all identification with the body is suffering. And I just haven't really thought about that. Like to me, nothing I say is truth. Like I'm pointing to the truth. So it's like the finger is pointing at the moon, but the finger isn't the moon. So I'm pointing to something deeper, but I don't actually have the ability to be correct in this subject. And it doesn't come with a manual. You don't have like these awakenings and then like a manual pops out of your orifice somewhere, like under your arm. Like, there's manual. Oh yeah. It's not something I plan. It's something I try to do spontaneously. Like that's really, I think, the meaning of these talks is for it to be spontaneous. And there's this like resonance that can happen if it's coming from this innocent place. But it also comes through the filter of this body. So whatever information has gone into this body or not gone into this body, like the output of the talks is going to be in that line. So I'm not going to suddenly start doing the talks in Japanese or doing the talks like heavily influenced by Sufism because I don't know Sufism. So I do it, so the talks come out in the flavor of this body. But in another way, what the beauty is of these talks, or the spontaneity of them, is they're coming out of the now, they're coming out of presence, of this moment. But when Lisa, the character, is evolving, she says things that contradict themselves, and she has to learn and think about that and update this body-mind mechanism, and then they begin to change. And so when I'm saying that all identification with the body is suffering, I now need to adjust that because I'm saying there is some identification with the body that has to remain. And so I was thinking about it, and I was thinking maybe more what would be correct for me to say is identification with the personality structure, which also contains the body. But it's like this new thing that I want to try to express, or it feels like it's a new thing, but I may be doing it for years, is that consciousness needs to be looking from an angle. There needs to be some attachment to these bodies, otherwise it would float off into everything and you die. Like, that's my feeling on it. And maybe I've been saying that differently through the years. And maybe through me thinking about this and talking about it, there'll be a shift in the way that I speak about it. But I just wanted to clarify that from people that have been writing, asking questions about that. And some people feeling upset or hurt by that, which I can understand. But also, it's like you have to try and hear beyond the concepts and like figure it out and put it together, like you do when you see some beautiful piece of art. That this subject isn't like a perfect logical jigsaw puzzle where it all matches up. It's more like a poem where it doesn't always make sense, but it's pointing to something beyond that. So yes. Then the next thing I'd say about meditation is that when I talk about meditating, it sounds like I am giving a prescription to somebody in time to do something. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you look at it from the greater perspective, you begin to see that there is no one really here giving a prescription to somebody out there. There is energies interacting, and there's these like chemical reactions that happen, and then something comes from that. But it doesn't mean there's independence. Like, so whether you meditate or not is dependent on all the other things. It's dependent on everything. It's what we do in the human world is put it down to a me that's doing. Like, I'm separate from all other things and I'm in control of this and I can meditate if I want to. And I'm either a good meditator or a bad meditator. And this is very limited thinking. Life is so much bigger and greater and more mysterious than that idea. It's so much bigger than that idea that you could get it wrong or right, or that you're going to meditate. That's relatively speaking, so it's how we communicate in the human world, but actually we don't know how you are going to meditate. We don't know if you are. It's something that happens or doesn't happen, and there's a narrator that's saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to choose to meditate, and I better do well. But actually the act of it is quite mysterious and magical in its appearance. Like, in the moment of sitting down and closing your eyes, like, how do you do that? Close your eyes. How do you do sitting down? I tell my body to sit down, and that's really logical and makes sense, but it's also kind of really simplistic. We don't know how the body sits down. Like, so you're like, this muscle pull, it's just kind of happening. When I was younger, there used to be this alleyway behind the school that we would walk in to go home. I liked the sounds in the alleyway. And it always used to give me this sense when I looked down at my legs, that my legs were walking and I wasn't telling them to walk. Like, they were walking. It wasn't me doing it. I'd be like, look. So my mom or my dad or my grandparents, my legs are walking. It wasn't like I was like, left, right. They're just walking. And I just always had this really like sweet, profound experiences in this one alleyway. There was something about the echoes and the stillness and maybe the joy to be out of school as well. So when you go to meditate, even though you're telling the story that you're going to meditate and you commit to meditating, it's also, who is this one that's meditating? And who is this one that you believe I am that's prescribing? Like, when you really go into the heart of being, when you really go into the heart of life, you see that there is no one. There is no independence or individuation. There is only everything. and there's the appearance of all of that, but it's not your reality. When you believe it's your reality, then that's when you suffer. When you believe that's your only possibility, you suffer because you're identified with the personality structure and the person. And I mean, you could say the ego as well. A lot of people like that word. Like, so there's this identification with it. And through that identification, everything about you becomes too serious and too weighty and too heavy. Like, you believe that your happiness is dependent on the outcome of the personality structure, on your emotions, on your thoughts, on your feelings, on your ideas. Really, your freedom and your peace is the presence that you are, is what everything's arising from. And that part has been forgotten in humanity. The stillness of your presence and your aliveness is forgotten. The only thing that's remembered is movement and me. Me, time. Has anyone ever wondered why the word me is in time? Me and time are synonymous. I'm going for these big words, which is difficult for a dyslexic. Well, not all dyslexics, but for this particular dyslexic. It's not that I don't know them, it's just the pronunciation. There's issues with pronunciation sometimes for dyslexics. So if you hear me, sometimes I wonder if I'm more popular. No, that's a rude joke. But if you hear me making a mistake with my words, then just go to what the nearest word it kind of sounds like, and then you're most probably right. Florist. This is the natural florist of life. This is a natural of life. Phenomenon. I was just joking. Yeah.